The SNES Classic is a cool, fun little way of playing your favorite games from the 90s on a 1080p display, but it got me thinking, what would it take for us to make a modern day setup that would give you the best experience possible on an actual old school SNES? And to do that, we have to take a step back to the 90s. So obviously there is a lot going on here. So let's kind of break it down a little bit. Obviously, I lied a little bit when I said that this is, all from 91, not exactly. This monitor is, which is awesome. This is a PVM from Ikegami. We're gonna talk a little more in depth about why we went with this monitor choice as opposed to, a modern TV or even other more traditional CRTs. But let's take a look at everything else in the setup first. We are definitely mixing in some more modern stuff right here because we want something that's gonna give the best experience with the SNES, not necessarily something that's entirely true to the 90s. The first thing right away, wireless receiver for the SNES. This is something that I've talked about a few times from 8BitDo. Normally I've done the ones for the classics, but they do make one for the SNES straight up, so you can use this with a wireless SNES Bluetooth controller, or if you even wanted to, you could use it with, say, a PS4 controller if you want to go all out. Another thing we've got going on wirelessly are these speakers. While I love using this CRT, it doesn't actually have audio out, and even if it did, most of them didn't exactly have the best speakers for their time. So what we're using is an actual Bluetooth transmitter that we have the SNES plugged into while the video signal is clearly going here, and that Bluetooth is transmitting to these speakers right here, giving some great sounding audio for some classic games. I think my favorite thing we've done with this though is how we're holding up the TV, which is this little rack system right here. Now the functional use we're giving it is that we're putting all of our SNES games down here on display, but more than anything, I think this really captures that kind of classic 90s feeling that I had in school where like the best days when the teacher brought in a TV like this.
I will now show a short sex education film.
I don't know, I love the visual. It also really works out that the grays are like the exact same. Aside from that, we've just got a lot of other kind of aesthetic stuff going on to kind of match the full thing. I like the use of colors for some light blues and pinks. And then we've got the classics on display, both the SNES and the European design, which has the Famicom shell, and to top it off some Yoshi's up top. And of course, these posters, which they just make me so excited. Now, let's take a moment to talk about the television we chose to use for this setup, because when you're looking to make a modern day setup that incorporates old school gaming systems, you basically have two different choices to get the best picture possible. A, you can buy a really high quality, fancy, expensive upscaler to plug into your system and then put into a modern day TV. And the upside of this is that you can use that with a modern day entertainment setup, no problem. But it does run into some issues. For instance, the fact that you are going to be experiencing latency that you would not get with an old school television, which some of these old school games really rely on the fact that you could just hit a button and something's gonna happen on screen that exact moment. And that's why we went with an old school CRT. And in particular, we went with this one from Ikegami. Now, if you've never heard of that company, that's because they never actually made televisions for like actual consumer use. This is what's known as a PVM, a professional viewing monitor. This is the kind of stuff that studios or actually even game development teams would use while making games, because it gives you one of the highest quality pictures possible. And so this makes a perfect fit to actually give you an amazing CRT experience that you wouldn't get with certain other models. And it's really the highest quality way to experience old school games. Now, like I said earlier, this one doesn't actually have audio out, which is why we're using these speakers, but it comes with a whole lot of additional options as well, where we can do things like mess with the hue, the chroma, all kinds of stuff. So playing on this thing is actually a really cool experience because we're melding some of the most appropriate old school technology to use with an SNES, but at the same time mixing in enough new school stuff to really give it this kind of updated feeling. We're using the right kind of old school CRT, so we're getting the best image possible. We're showing the games the way they were meant to be shown back in the day, but we're mixing in wireless Bluetooth speakers, which are giving us way better audio quality and not a mess of wires everywhere. We're using a wireless controller setup, so we're actually able to not worry about how far away we are from the TV, which, by the way, a 19-inch screen actually really helps with this, because while this may be small compared to certain modern TVs, this is actually a good size CRT. So you can play this from a distance where you're still getting to see the whole picture, you're getting to see some good detail, but it's not blown up so much that you're starting to see the imperfections of old school gaming. It just makes this really nice blended experience for the whole thing.